Hello, this is going to be a super quick video of how I create these bead stringers. So, in essence, these are what I would use for beading onto hair. So I prefer them to be longer. However, or like for that reason, I guess. But I also like them to be longer because I preset out my Freshie bead designs and how I want them. And then I can load up, like 3 or 4 of them, and it helps making the Freshies, the Freshie stringers quicker. So I'm going to first talk about this string. I prefer, can't pick this up right now, this one that has like this coating on the outside of it. I don't really know what the heck it is. It's been years since I've bought any of this. I just keep making them as they break or wear out or whatever. Versus like this one, it kind of has like a texture to it, and you could see the braided part of the wire. So I am pretty sure that this is the one that I had that had the coating on it, but unfortunately there is no more left on this roll. So I don't know where to tell you to get it, because I'm pretty sure I would have gotten it from Joann's. But at least in comparison, this is also the wire. So they're both 49 strands. This one says softest drape. This one says most flexible. So the only thing I can see is that this one says pearl on it. That is the difference. But even, I guess maybe like this one is 0.024 inches or 0.61 millimeters. And then this one is that 0.018. So maybe that could be a difference as well. But just look where they have all of the beading wire. I am going to use this one that was just like already cut in a remnant piece, but also know that this one had broken just because of the stress, up here. And this was like a regular braided one, not a, stronger one like this other one was. And because I made it so long, I could then take this and like turn it into 2 of them if I wanted to. So I feel like they're slightly more versatile. I am going to take these little bead crimper dealios. I try to find the smaller ones, but just, find what you can. I was already using this guy, so I'm going to put him onto here. Thread that one up a little bit. And then for my bead choices, I'm just going to do a random type of design. You want to pick something that has a smaller hole so that once this is flattened, it'll hold everything down into place. And I want enough beads on there, or like heavy enough essentially that it will hang downwards, but you don't want such a crazy amount of beads that it's getting in your way, and it's like too heavy. I line up the edges. I'm going to come down close to the bottom and just crimp this as much as I can flat like that. This is like so super tiny that it's hard for you to see, I'm sure. But crimp it flat, move my other beads down, take this one, crimp it flat as well. So if you got pliers, you can be able to do this. There are on occasions where I have gotten bigger ones of the bead crimpers. And so I do have a pair of bead crimpers just because that way you can take this and like bend it in half again. But it just depends on, the style of beads that you get. So super quick way of being able to get a good stringer. And I don't know how much they would be selling things like this for, but I feel like this would be a fairly cheap investment. And then I will come over here and show you how I do my actual Freshie stringers as well. And just like with most things, I'm kind of extra. So I built my own like templates because I have a table saw and I can do that. I prefer to use like this natural stuff. So the bottom is over there. This is one of those like yarn spinny dudes. So you could just like make these super quick. Let me see if I can zoom out here. I use this length, whatever, for my designer Freshies because I need to make sure it has a little bit more length so it has more adjustability to it. And I use this for the smaller one. And I'm not going to cut this because I already have a bunch of them, but I'm just going to show you. So I'm going to start off with a little bit extra length of that. And then you will wind this whole entire thing. So you can do it super, super, super quick, right? And then you're going to end up here where like the length would go towards the center, and see like if I press that down, that length would go to the center. And then you're going to cut these, and then literally you would have 3 strings already done. So if you do this whole row, and I do try to like wind them to where they're closer together, you can do this whole block of wood, make a template out of cardboard, whatever, and do the whole thing at once. So it makes that process very quick and consistent for the size of Freshie hangers that you're gonna have. Put those back away. And then this is an example of what my finished Freshie package or the stringer packaging would be. I have this on the outside, like super simple. And then on the inside, I decided I'm gonna do these dealios. So I'm gonna put a little instruction card in there just to basically tell them how to like adjust them in the car and stuff. Because I feel like some people need more instructions on how to do things. So with these, where's my other toolbox? Oh, these ones. There's so much stuff. I got these off of Amazon. And I can put a link because I definitely was like super worried about the size of them. And I think that they're absolutely perfect. So making sure it's even down here, loop that through to get your first ones. And then you basically have to build these backwards. And typically whenever I start doing a series of these, I do kind of have to go in and do one and then like go backwards. And I'm kind of torn. I did these a couple of different ways where I had either the, more bigger bead kind of at the bottom and then the design at the top, because I honestly don't know which way that I prefer them to be, but I think I'm leaning towards liking this one more. I don't know. So it could be just random, but I'm going to set this here as an example because this is going to tell me how I have to put my beads on there, because you have to do it backwards. So, I will put this guy on her, and then a big bead, and these are all silicone beads. So you just are, well, not this one. These ones are not silicone, but the big ones are silicone. So the design also, you need to make sure that it's going backwards. And even with that smaller hole, it's gonna pull through the string really well. Oops. I did 3D print off these trays too I have 2 of them, so I can just like make this whole process as fast as possible. So hopefully I can make more money with these. So you're literally just gonna pull the string through like that, right? So this guy is here. And then the hardest bead is gonna probably be this one. So I'm gonna make sure that that comes through, and then I stop putting pressure on here and just pull the rest of the cord through. If you guys are using the elastic cord instead of this thicker cord, it's gonna be even better for you. And I just wanna make sure that's even. Okay, so now that those are on there, these are gonna be easier. And because of the length on this thing, you could just like, you know, put a bunch of them on there. And there is your final. And then I just like to do some knots to be able to finish it. So nothing like super fancy, but I did find that doing it this way kind of allowed it to get like a little bit in the bead further. So that way, as I build up on it, I feel like it has lesser of a chance of being able to come out of there. And I'll just do it until I feel like it's got a really good knot going on it. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll do black for this one. So I'm gonna take one side of that. And, ooh, I just dropped it. One side of one of those. And as for temporary, let me remember how to do, is it that? Again, once you get into the groove of doing this, it's super freaking simple. And you can have one stringer full of a bunch of these, have your other stringer. Yeah, that's the way to, no, because it needs to go the other way. One stringer full of one side and one stringer full of the other side, and just powerhouse through them. Because I feel like this could help you gain some more time back within making all of your Freshies. So, and with these, doing this type of string as well instead of the elastic, I feel like when you knot them that it stays much better with these. And this is another thing I've gone back and forth on in my packaging. If I just leave them like this, and then what I'll do is go out to my car in the video that I'm planning on making, and I'm gonna hang this where I want it to be, and then like pinch my fingers back behind, and then put a mark there, because more than likely you're not gonna be able to get it off of your mirror. So then I'm gonna tell them to put a Sharpie marker like right there where that is, and then that is where you're gonna be able to tie your knot. So I don't think that I am going to knot these completely, but maybe just like put them in the packaging like this, where you do like a really loose slip knot. Like so, because it'll make it not as hard for them to be able to like try to pick out a whole knot. But I don't know, give me your guys' like suggestions if anybody else does that, because as of right now, or like the ones that I have experimented with so far, these are all have been all tester ones that I've been giving out to my clients, that I've just left them blank and then have them tie them where they want them to be. And I just feel like these for this is going to make it more polished and have the ability to be adjusted more, I guess. So that is all. If you guys have any questions or want any of the links to the products or anything, please let me know. I don't have any like affiliate stuff set up at all for any of the things, but I know trying to order from Amazon, it can be harder to figure out exactly, you know, what pieces that you would want to have. So hope that helps.